Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Goya, and I am here with John Ball. We are the co-founders and co-owners of CH Training and Coaching. And we launched an initiative about 2 months ago where we've been interviewing professionals across all different business entities to talk about what it means to bring health into an organization. And we're not talking about physical health, we're talking more about the social and emotional health that is so desperately needed. Today, we are just ecstatic because we have someone who is just a leader in the area of understanding what it means to be a exceptional leader in the area of healthy work environments. We are ecstatic to welcome Dr. Paula Primeau with us this morning. She's the Associate Dean of Health and Sciences and Technology for Macomb Community College. And John is going to read her biography for everyone. But thank you so much, Paula, for being willing to be here today with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And when we think about Paula and our relationship has gone in many different directions over the years, but Paula isn't just a thought leader and in the world of education around the subject of creating healthy work environments, but she really is a practitioner. And so she puts what she believes into place. And hopefully those of you who are watching will be able to understand that very clearly as she begins to talk and we have this conversation. But one of the things that's very refreshing to Lisa and I, especially during this time of COVID, is finding people who can really engage in this conversation around creating healthy, productive, engaging, meaningful, and satisfying work environments. And it's all possible. It doesn't mean that it's a bed of roses and it's not always easy, but it does take a great amount of vision and intentionality. And so I'm going to share with you just Paula's background. As Lisa said, she's the Associate Dean of Health Sciences and Technology for Macomb Community College. She has worked in healthcare and higher education for 40 years. She received a doctoral degree in leadership with extensive research in, and this is just really fascinating, developing successful leaders using spirituality in the workplace. This research developed her passion of emotional intelligence and spirituality in the workplace and its relationship to leadership and teamwork success. As an advocate for social emotional intelligence, inclusivity, and diversity, she has a significant passion for every single student as they are, as well as her faculty and staff, to live out their own authentic self in a safe and welcoming environment. There's a lot there in that particular sentence, but it's just really laden with some really beautiful language and, most important, practicalities. Her professional interests focus on assisting others to realize their gifts and to share with others in their circle of influence. So with all of that, again, we just warmly welcome you, Paula. And we're going to talk today about inspirational leadership as we learn to manage the relationships around us effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So would you like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, why don't we, we're always like, why don't we start with what inspirational leadership means to you?
Inspirational leadership, I think, to me is so important because as a leader, you should have a vision. And that vision should always include um, how you feel yourself about what you do. I always say that at the end of the day, I take a self inventory of myself, my actions, what I did during the day, what I accomplished, maybe what I could have done better. And then the next day, I go back and try to do those things that I think I could have done better. I do them again and do them correctly. Um, I always try to keep the employee at the mind of what I'm doing. That's always my vision, and how to grow them. My success is not things that I do, it's the things that they accomplish. Um, there's several things that come to my mind on being a good inspirational leader. Those would be things like transparency,
Mm.
um, good communication, humility, positivity, trustworthiness, integrity, character, um, all those types of things. And you have to first and foremost be caring.
Hmm. So in the world of education, Paula, as you have taken on this role with Macomb, what were some of the significant challenges that maybe you faced as you entered into a new realm and really made your mark as an inspirational leadership? And what are some of those roadblocks that you oftentimes may encounter as you lead in this fashion?
Well, it's interesting because I started at Macomb's just about a week after they closed down for COVID. So immediately I was thrown virtually into developing those COVID plans and how we were going to deliver content to students in different formats,
Yeah.
in different times, whether we were having them come to campus maybe for every other week, depending on if their courses were essential. Being in healthcare, there are things that you just have to do face to face with a student.
Right.
So making sure we had the PPE, making sure that we had extra cleaning assignments so that rooms were cleaned in between individuals. So just really trying to be a leader in helping to plan some of those things for our division and the institution overall. It's been a great learning process, to say the least, and I'm grateful for the opportunity there. Other things, during COVID, when I think about it, I think that in some ways we've lost our deep understanding of individual spirits
Hmm.
and, what the purpose and the meaning of is, of the human experience. And I think that we have to understand that during these times that everyone is affected by them, whether it's students, staff, faculty, whoever it may be, that we've all been influenced and affected by what's happening. And we really need to work on having a deep understanding of other individuals as we work through this time.
What kind of things were you able to do to tap into that? And I love that. I mean, you're very astute, but to be able to tap into realizing that it's an experience that's felt differently from one person to the next. How were you able to connect with your staff? I mean, here you're coming in new at the beginning of COVID. I can't even imagine what that had to feel like for you on a personal level. And all of a sudden you're thrown into this environment of having to roll something out that's never been done before. Yeah. So how are you able to reach those connecting points with your staff and with students? What worked for you?
Well, of course, hearing the students' frustration, hearing their fear of the change, and offering advice. If I had a student that was having some issues, just talking with them, communicating with them myself, and doing that over the phone or in a Zoom or a Teams meeting so they see my face.
Yeah.
And showing them compassion, offering them assistance, and those types of resources that we have available to them. Oftentimes they're not aware of those things. I think one of my lessons or things that I've learned that I need to do in this role is to be emotionally intelligent. I have to understand and meet people where they are. And especially with the faculty and the additional workload that they've had to take on. I think being a good communicator is another way that I've addressed that. Doing a check-in with them via email or have a Teams meeting with them, and making sure that they understand their support available. Also being trustworthy. I think that they need to know that they can vent, or they can, be their true selves, and that they're not going to be judged for that. And I also like to use a sense of humor, because I think even in the middle of the very worst times that we've possibly ever had
Yeah.
in education, I think sometimes having a little bit of humor can help.
Yes, it can.
Because really, if you can't change the situation, you got to go with it. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think most of all, it's just to be present and to let them know that there's someone here for them, and to just be present in the moment when you're needed.
That's one of the things that's been so uh, one of the things that we have appreciated about your leadership style is the beginning of the year, we reached out, you reached out to us, and we created an initiative because you knew in the midst of the pandemic that your staff was really feeling a significant amount of stress and anxiety, and were traumatized by really not just the pandemic itself, but also the added pressures of so many other things that they were experiencing personally and professionally. And so when you talk about being astute and really clear about that connection that you have with your staff, we've appreciated your ability to do that. And how have they responded, Paula, uh, as a result of your leadership style and being an inspirational leader?
Well, I hear quite frequently that they appreciate my style, that they appreciate my connectedness to them, my support. Um, and I think that especially during this time is when it's been needed the most. Um, After, working in higher ed for over 20 years, I realized that it's not the same. I can't fit this, square peg into this round hole anymore. And those are the things that we've been trying to accomplish. And I have to say, I'm very lucky to have the people that I have to be able to work with them. Um, and they've accepted that challenge wholeheartedly. And that's very, very important and valuable to our productivity as a team.
So now forecasting into the future, and you having the background that you do, and you having a sense of clarity, at least as a leader who really has instituted the principles of creating a socially and emotionally intelligent work environment. Where do you see us evolving to as for both businesses as well as organizations like Macomb in the future, especially with all of the dynamics that come into play with generational diversity, diversity of so many different other areas, racial, ethnic, LGBTQIA. How do you see all of this playing out in the next decade and beyond?
Well, I think we're going to see a lot more initiatives
Hmm.
that will appreciate the diversity of individuals, not only as staff or faculty, but also inclusive of our students. I think we have to develop those initiatives that are going to meet them right where they are,
Hmm.
and show them acceptability, and in a way that maybe we have never done before. And I think we'll see a lot more data on it, on the successes of following that path. Um, and I think we'll see with the enactment of some of those strategies that we're looking at, I think that you will see um, a greater amount of involvement and commitment and passion for those students to be successful. That's my goal, and that's my hope, and I'm going to stick to that for
Well, and as I was reading your bio this morning, and your professional life reaches beyond 40 years, as you forecast into the future and you provide a little bit of input on that, um, I would just love to be able to get your take on where you've seen us evolve in the last 4 decades during your professional life, from where we started to, or where you started and until where we're at now?
Well, my career started in healthcare as a radiographer. Um, and then I was recruited to start teaching labs for radiography at a college that was a half a block from my house.
Mm.
And they've called and asked me several times to come and teach for them, and I was hesitant because I was shy. uh, but really, healthcare has evolved so much.
Mhm.
And so the education that we deliver has had to change and keep up with that, with the technology pieces of the equipment we use and the advancements in healthcare. So being involved in those healthcare programs and to see them change along the way, I'm very proud of that. Our programs, have accreditors, and you have to um, operate according to the standards of the accreditors of these programs, and they keep us up to speed in everything that we're doing and the changes that need to happen that will include those individuals of diverse populations,
Mm.
and things like that. So um, I see that we're going to continue with technology. I don't think that we'll ever go back to the previous educational model of all classes, for the most part, being face
Hmm.
to face.
Oh,
I
okay.
think we'll see different forms of delivery for those methods. There's breakout rooms, there's all kinds of things that we're able to do now to enhance the experience for the student. And I think that that'll be the focus that we're going to have to continue on, is that path of change.
Mhm.
And being willing to accept that change, be motivated, and then also to motivate the individuals that you work with to lead that change. So.
Excellent.
Well, it always excites us anytime we talk to enlightened leaders like yourself who are willing to sit in the place of acknowledging that change is a part of life and we've got to roll with it and keep up with it, while keeping our focus on the qualities that truly make a strong leader. And Paula, you have those qualities in spades. The skill sets that you were listing off of being trustworthy, of being transparent, of being caring. Those are all things that make up a socially and emotionally intelligent human being. And at the heart of you, that's who you are. And I think that's why you are doing the phenomenal job that you are doing there, because it's a part of your being and you can't fake sincerity, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I think people see that is truly who you are as a leader.
Hmm.
And so there's that respect that comes out for, the staff that reports to you and the student population as well. So I'm just very grateful. And I know John is too, that you're in the position that you are in because you are a change maker.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank
So,
you. I
Yeah.
definitely think there's a direct relationship between um, the qualities of a good leader, like I talked about earlier,
yeah.
and the success of your
Hmm.
team and how they're
Yeah.
inspired.
Yeah.
And so, allowing them to grow is really what it's all about. I've been fortunate to have a couple great mentors. I work for one right now, and they give me the space to learn on my own and initiate those activities that I feel necessary, or not necessarily necessary, but I know they'll be helpful and gainful for individuals. So this is just in my soul and in my heart about giving back.
Yeah.
And really that's what every person should want to do, no matter what level that they're on,
Oh,
is
give
give
me
back.
goosebumps. Yes.
Well, thank you, Paula, so much. Any closing comments before we end our time together today?
Um, I think inspirational leaders also need to be brave. Don't be afraid to be brave. Go out there and make your way and help others to make theirs. That's really what I stand for.
Well, and you have a life story that has exemplified that. So Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Dr. Paula Primeau from Macomb Community College. We're just grateful for you joining with us today. And we look forward to being able to watch your ongoing leadership successes as you move forward. John
Thank you
Ball
both.
and Lisa Goyette with CH Training and Coaching. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.